Welcome to Legends of Grayskull, the podcast that dives deep into the mythology of Masters of the Universe, with your hosts Matthew Dooch and Shawn Scavana. News, reviews, remasterings and more are just ahead on Legends of Grayskull.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 97 of Legends of Grayskull, the fan podcast where we discuss the history, the mystery, the magic, and mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, Eternia, Etheria, Norther, Primus, New Adventures, Ladybird, UK Animals, mini comics, anything and everything you can think of with that He-Man, She-Ra, Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power, that Mattel logo down in the corner. I'm Matthew Dooch, here again with Shawn Scavana. Shawn, how are we doing tonight?
Wait, I was too busy miming. Sorry. I am doing okay. How have you been?
I've been wonderful.
Good.
Made it through the holidays into the new year. We are good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say the 5th. So 5 days into the new year. And so far, it's like that whole thing of how many days and 0 accidents on site or whatever. It's like, all right, 5 days in, 0 craziness at least.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's all we can ask.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
Well, that's a different podcast.
Welcome to Legends of One Day at a Time.
Just knowing I know what that
Rewatch podcast. I don't even think I know that one other than just the name. So I get more specific there.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that one from my childhood. So, yeah. It was not must-watch TV, I guess.
No, not at all. So, get anything exciting? Since the first of the year, I mean, I know Christmas kind of taps us out, and we're trying to get through, but yeah, anything? Probably nothing. You haven't had anything picked up for a while, so.
Nah. Yeah. Basically, Christmas for me was I at least got the gift card for Store Horseman. So that will be being used in
somebody loves you.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah, my mommy, she does love me though, so that's always nice. But I also managed to snag, because I'm rebuilding. This is 2023 is the year of rebuilding in a lot of ways for both me and my family. I managed to get these guys in the mail yesterday.
Nice. For
the audio listeners, these are the 2 packs of the first movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle NECA figures. And so Donnie, Leo, Raph, and Mikey. And I managed to get those off Mercari. I think I got them after the New Year. So yeah, these are some of my first 2023 gains. And then this guy showed up on my doorstep yesterday.
Yeah, baby!
Look at you, all thunder punched out. Well, I got the old school traditional classic version right here. So, yeah, the Mondo Deluxe He-Man. We both ended up getting one of each. So there you go.
Yeah, see, I had to go Thunder Punch. Number one, I think it is amazing.
Yeah.
And 2, I'm like, if there's one variant Shawn's not going to put his in, it's going to be Thunder Punch.
I've been thinking about it because it's really, I mean, I'll say it. Thunder Punch is pretty sexy. Yeah. I was very surprised how much I actually like Thunder Punch with this. But a huge hang-up for Thunder Punch for me as a kid was I just didn't like that he was stuck in that crouching, like, swiveled position all the time. You know, it's like I just wanted my He-Man just look at people straight and all that stuff. So being able to do this makes that version way more appealing to me for the first time in my life.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, but it was always a visually striking difference in just the details that Mondo has done, like on these accessories. Like Thunder Punch really jumps out with all the texture and everything, and the gears, the texture under, the harness there. Like they went full translucent with the power sword, the punchy effect.
Yeah.
And what head did you do? I didn't pay attention. I did the gritted teeth.
Yeah, see, you have the opposite of me even on that one, because the serious face, or I don't know what you want to call this one, but the just serious face, not the angry face. I really like this. This is it's a really, really, really nicely done representation of He-Man. Like, we've had that talk before about how difficult it is to capture that feeling and that vibe of He-Man. Like, Origins could not pull it off. In my opinion, Classics did with the Ular second head, the more vintage-esque head that the Horseman did. But if you're gonna sidestep it completely, this is the head that to me is like, yeah, that's very much it works.
No, I agree. I like both the heads. Tons of options, because that's the thing. So far, I put Thunder Punch. You did regular. There's Battle Armor too. But really, you can mix and match in there and come up with something even really unique. And that'll be interesting to play around with.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking at some point maybe even having him go bracerless, because that was the Alcala mini comics take, and there has always been a part of me that wanted that on a figure, and we've never gotten that, except if you want to count Ular. And you have to pop and swap the arms on that one, but this one is just just take off the hand, take off the bracer, you got like an old school Alcala version if you want to go there. So
no, I completely agree. It's an amazing figure. We'll definitely get more in depth at him on another episode, because we can spend a whole episode just on Mondo again.
I guess the only question I'll ask before we move on, how is the QC for you? Because I know that's been a huge thing online right now. Everything worked out?
Yep. No, he's definitely solid. I'm good.
Sweet.
So let's get into the meat of the episode here. Obviously, we're looking back as we're moving into 2023. Our anniversary is just a few days away. We published our first episode on January 9th of 2020. So today is January 5th when we're recording. So almost to the day.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. And we will have a anniversary contest coming up. We're not going to reveal that today because I didn't get to it. So, but we know what we're doing. There's going to be some fun stuff. You guys are going to have some fun with it. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. But for today, looking back, 2022, currently on YouTube, we are at 942 subscribers. 3 years, that's great. And I take a lot of blame for our little bit of a lull this year because of everything that went on with me personally. We've been over it already, but we definitely had a dip there where we were only putting out an episode every couple months. But we're going to look forward to a strong 2023. So, Shawn, what do you think our most viewed episode of 2022 was?
2022. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what we did in 2022 is becoming the lost year for me, even though 2020 for a lot of people was, because I'm looking back on what did we do? What happened? And I can't remember. Let me guess. I had probably something with Jesse on it because now he's like on fire with everything with the cabal and all that stuff lately.
That's a very good guess. Very
Can't
wrong.
What episodes? Well, all right, there you go.
A very good guess. So our most viewed episode of 2022 was published on April 6th, 2022.
Okay.
And that was Legends of Grayskull, episode 86, Shawn's Excellent Adventure.
Wow. Okay. Did not expect that to be the one.
Do you remember what Shawn's Excellent Adventure was?
Shawn's Excellent Adventure was me going to visit the Four Horsemen Studios in New Jersey and do an intern for the day for the first time last year. Yeah.
And you didn't tell a damn soul.
I couldn't tell a damn soul.
Dirty dog.
You can if you get to be
Jesse and I had to find out by seeing a picture posted by somebody on the cabal, I think it was, and like, hey, who's that bald in the corner? Sorry, guys.
It was well. That was the thing. Like, if you ever get to be in a room with Walter Hagen, go up to him and give him as much shit as you want, because I was told by him I'm not to tell anybody, and I did not want to screw up my trip. I did not want to screw up my chances of doing that because I did not expect to ever be able to do it again. I thought this was my one and only, and I'm not going to ruin it. And you and Jesse would have been the first two I would have told. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm sitting there going, I can't say a word. Oh, boy.
Oh, that was a good episode. And actually followed by that was our CGI He-Man Season 2 review. So
okay.
That wouldn't surprise me. I can see why everyone would be on Shawn's Excellent Adventure. But with the crap CGI has gotten, especially the second season, I think we all can agree that was kind of the weaker part of it, even though I loved the thing all the way through.
Mm-hmm. And I'd only say that was only weaker, only for maybe 1 to 2 episodes out of the batch. The rest were like still going strong. So it's like,
I'm just saying that.
I'll take saying something's weaker if there's only 1 or 2 episodes I'm okay with, versus but no, like that's cool. I like that people wanted to come on and check that out, because we are, I'd say, out of anybody out there, we're probably the podcast that's like, look at this thing, check it out, it's really fun, it's great, the spirit is there. And for anybody who hasn't given it a chance, hopefully maybe that episode or other episodes we've done talking about it, they're like, you know what, maybe I will give it a shot. So
nope, for sure. And then and then on the audio side, 13,000 downloads.
Wow.
Our main audience comes from the United States, Canada, the UK, France, and Hungary.
France.
Those are our top countries in the past year.
Mm-hmm. That's actually reminding me of something. Let me see.
Wait, hang on.
Nope. Still up to the same number.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I was in the last month. In the last year, our top countries are the United States, Singapore, Germany, Canada, and the UK.
Wow.
Yep.
Singapore.
Yep.
Hello, people in Singapore. I did not know that if you were giving us the time of day. That's pretty crazy. Thank you for listening.
And what app do you think most people listen to us on?
Probably the Apple one that you hate.
Yes, you have all disappointed me again. With 44.95% of the downloads are through Apple Pod.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing. That's what I listen to. The other day, it was funny. My wife and I were talking about that because she was having some trouble with the app, and so was I. But we're both like, but we hate all the other options. We want to keep it on this one. We're so programmed to that one now. So, yeah, because I've tried other ones. I've tried Podomatic and a few others, and I don't know. After a while, that one.
I don't care for Podomatic.
Podomatic was driving me
Podbean's
crazy. So.
And then on our audio side, what was our most listened to episode
of last year? I'll say probably let's just do one of the CGI reviews because we did two. I think we did two of them because there was two, season 2 and season 3.
All 3. It probably was just
season 1 hit in fall of 2021. I want to say.
Yeah, that's right.
And then 22 we got in the spring we got one, and then in the fall we got the next one.
Yep. But no, audio listeners, not so much.
Okay.
This one was a Jesse Arnold, along with a Will White and a Curtis Ackerman.
Oh, I know that one.
Yep, episode 93, our Legion's Con 2022 recap. Published on November 12th, 2022. That was our most download.
And I felt bad for you on that one because out of everybody there, you were the only person who wasn't able to go. So you just had to listen to the stories instead of being the stories.
Yep, keep rubbing it in, Scavarna.
Not rubbing it in. I said I felt bad. I did not say I'm rubbing it in.
And second was our Revelation. One of our Revelation ones.
That's right.
So
part 2 came out last year, didn't it? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I am complete. 2022, it's almost like you dig through a Foot Locker in your bedroom and you realize all this crap that you didn't realize you still had is still in there. And you're like, that's that year? No freaking way.
Right. And that's the thing. So that takes us right into our best of. And like you, I kind of feel that this year was like there wasn't as much as I felt there was looking back. A lot of the stuff trying to compile this list I'm looking up, it actually was 2021 or, I don't know, even the Marvel TV shows like 2020 and 2021, like they were just everywhere. And then last year we only got a handful. Mm-hmm. We got no Mandalorian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows my wife watches that kind of took a year off. And that seems to be more the norm, especially with streaming. Like where these shows take 2 years to put out a season.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, especially the way we grew up. If a show didn't come back the following year, it's done. Yeah. Like there was those rare cases where a show would take a couple year hiatus, but it was very, very rare. Most of them, it's like, oh, it didn't come back in the fall. It's gone.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, again, we ended up, I think last year was Book of Boba Fett for Star Wars and Obi-Wan and some of that stuff. And there were moments here and there, but yeah, I'm missing that's probably why they made the back end of Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian 2.5 or 2.1 or whatever, because he took over that show from the middle of it on, and you were more invested in him showing up than what Boba Fett was up to. But yeah, like the fact that I forgot Revelation Part 2 came out, and then we didn't get one but 2 seasons of CGI last year.
Right.
So, you know what's funny too is last night I was down here until about 1 a.m. playing around with the Mondo figure, just getting like I had a little bit of an issue with the one knee being a little loose. I was trying to see if I could solve that, and it really had me going like, man, I kind of want to watch He-Man before I go to bed now. It really got me in the mood to at least watch something. So I ended up putting on the final episode of Revelation because
that's a good one.
And I'm watching it going, I will probably need to rewatch this from beginning to end at some point this year again. And it's like there's still things that bug me about it, but watching that last episode, I'm just sitting there going, all the He-Man bits are great. Like, I really, really want to see more from... I know Revolution, they promised it'll be He-Man and Skeletor-centric. So it is really making me more excited for what they're going to do next. And then on top of that, I'm going to say it to this day, dude, Chris Wood as freaking He-Man is awesome. I absolutely love what he does with that role every time I hear him talk. And, I mean, he's the one getting to bellow half of those lines. And he doesn't sound like he's shy in that sound booth for a second. He just goes for it. Oh, I love it. That guy's like, I know a lot of people are looking at Mark Hamill or Tony Todd or some of those people, but it's like he's like the MVP of that show for me a lot of the time.
No, I agree, and it's I definitely am curious to see more of it. There's definitely a couple. I'll throw it out. I think Sarah Michelle Gellar needs to go. I think they need to recast Teela. I never really felt like she got there, you know. Not that she's a bad actress, just I don't feel she was hitting Teela. You know what I mean?
I could agree with that. For me, at least, like that whole last the second part. The whole the phrase that a lot of people have been using for a while since The Last Jedi came out is subverting expectations.
Yeah.
And the last 5 episodes did that, and it did it in the same way that pissed me off in Last Jedi, where I'm like, why are we suddenly worried about Evil Lyn doing all this craziness when it should have just been flat out Adam versus Skeletor, and he's trying to wrangle the power back from Skelegod, instead of us going down this whole existential nihilistic viewpoint that she has, and then we have to deal with that for how many episodes and still lose traction on the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor in this one. So that's still,
but at the same time, and I agree. Trust me, I agree. But at the same time, I also really like the Adam and Skeletor having a team up. Because, I mean, we've seen, and that's probably about the only pairing that we've never seen, right?
True.
Because we've seen He-Man and Skeletor, you know, they had to stop Evil Seed, they had to team up against Shigora, you know, Hordak, when he showed up, like, we've seen that. I thought that the Adam Skeletor, where Skeletor actually views Adam as like, you know, hey, you're actually an equal, and you know that was fun. And then of course everything with, you know, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal Skeletor type stuff and everything. And so it's kind of weird for me looking back, because it's like I agree the Evil Lyn motivation I could have done without, but I like the Adam Skeletor He-Man threads that came out of that.
I can agree with that to an extent, but I think instead of Evelyn, it would have been so much more interesting at least for me, to have it be, here's their version of the Horde, and they already went after Grey. Like, I'm almost picturing it like Eternity, where they've gone after Grayskull, they've gotten the power, they're locking down Grayskull and all that stuff because they've overwhelmed everybody, and then it's like Adam and Skeletor are trying to still get the power back so he can be He-Man and they can go double head against Hordak. That would have been so much more compelling than this whole thing with Evelyn discovering there's nothing. There's nothing. It's like, oh God, we're gonna go. It's like, okay, she's a goth chick. All right, let's do this. Let's play some Bauhaus and go for it. Why not? Bela Lugosi's dead, people. But
I'm still disappointed we never got Eternity War in animated form. And I really thought we were going to get it for a while there with, DC publishing He-Man.
Yeah.
And that's when the New 52 animated universe was going strong. Yeah. I mean, they were releasing those Justice League movies, it felt like once every few months, following the New 252 saga. Then He-Man crosses over with New 52 Justice League, and I'm like, all right, like they're going to do this. They're going to do, Justice League versus Masters of the Universe, and that'll kind of be the test. And if that animated movie goes good, then we'll get our Eternity War animated movie spinning out of that. Maybe even they do the Despara storyline as well, truncated, edited.
Yeah.
But like I could still see them doing a movie dealing with that Despara comic arc and the Horde invasion, and then 2 movies in Eternity War, and it really felt like they were trying to set that up at the time. And I'd be curious to talk to people behind the scenes to see if they would confirm it or not. But it definitely feels like it was at least a thought in these creators' minds.
I would have loved that. I as much as I'm not a huge fan of, we've had that talk a couple times, that I didn't mind the Thundercats Masters as much as you did and stuff, but it's like
I never finished it, so.
Well, I'm just tired of that because I feel Masters can more than hold its own to tell a story, but to have them reintroduce it it's almost like in the media, here's our chance to do it like we did back in the day, where Superman versus He-Man, let's have the DC universe bring back He-Man into the limelight again in that way. That would have been a really cool. I mean, just a couple nights ago, I ended up putting on the Justice Society World War II movie.
The New Frontier?
No, Justice Society of America World War II. It's got
is that where Flash goes back in time?
Flash ends up going back in time, and he actually it isn't even back in time. He ends up in like a parallel dimension where Superman never got to become Superman, but Superman's in World War II. He's just not Superman yet, and all this stuff. And so he meets up with like Wonder Woman, Jay Garrick, Flash, Hourman, Hawkman, Black Canary, and I'm just sitting there. It was a great movie. And like to think, if they could have also intertwined Masters into that somehow, because a lot of their stuff, if you give it a chance, it really is great compared to, I mean, no offense, but the movies are not really doing much for me except for a couple of options. So
the live action.
The live action ones aren't doing much. I mean, I'm okay with Wonder Woman. You like Shazam. But like when it comes to here's all these characters, they're all colorful, they're the way that you wanted them to be represented. Yeah, those animated movies are just perfect.
Yeah, they're much better. And that's honestly the way. I know a lot of people got upset when DC did the Justice League Masters crossover, but I was like, it's getting people who wouldn't pick up a He-Man book to pick up a He-Man book.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the long and shorter. Like, you could cut that whole thing basically out, and it would not affect the rest of the run.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some good story in there, and they do advance some plot points. But for the most part, you could excise it. Nothing matters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just getting people back to Eternia. And that's the only reason I say they would have done that movie first. If they did it, was that same reason. Like, we know we can sell a Justice League animated movie. People are going to buy this. But let's get back to actual 2022 and not our alternate universe that Flash.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't have those moments on these episodes. It's just that simple.
Fair enough. So we did take a look back at 2022. We got a few categories. We've also got some people who did their own. I put it out there to the groups. I had quite a few people respond, but we'll go through ours first. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories here. Our first category is our favorite movie of 2022. And this was hard. This is one where, like we were saying, I started looking back and, like, you know what? There really wasn't a lot. But I'll start it off first. For me, my favorite movie going back was Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, I almost put that on mine.
Yeah.
This close.
It was the first one that popped into my, when I just thought back, like, what movie did I really enjoy watching? It was one of the first that popped to mind, and then I verified that it was 2022, and I'm like, you know what? That's my first instinct. I'm going with it. That's the one that popped into my head first. And it was a lot of fun, and it was a great sequel, and I felt that they really took the Sonic story into a level I didn't think they were going to, with Jim Carrey fully committing to the Dr. Robotnik, Eggman, you know. He was always Robotnik growing up. I'm sorry. He was always Robotnik to me.
My son will correct me on that.
The giant mech and everything else, like, you know, the Chaos Emerald, Knuckles, Tails. I'm like, it's that moment. It's like they went there. You know, they actually. The first one was still a little bit of that, like, how do we do Sonic in our world? And this one was just like, all right, now let's do Sonic.
No, both of those movies are. I'm shocked to admit this, but both of those movies are great. I was never a Sonic kid. I was always Mario and Nintendo growing up. And my son ends up being the one to go, hey, Sonic, hey, Sega, and all this. And now I knew more about Sonic than I ever expected to. In both of those movies, I was shocked how entertained I was. And I'd laugh. And I mean, there's a moment in Sonic 2 in particular that it must have been how my mom saw me when Hot Rod finally got the Matrix at the end of Transformers the movie. Because there's this moment that happens where I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it, just in case. But there was a moment where my son almost jumped out of his seat cheering, and I even was like, "Oh my God, they went there! That is so cool!" I was so happy for him because he was so excited by that moment. So, and both of my kids, they both are excited to go see those movies. So.
All right, what was your movie?
All right, well. I've already warned Matt, and I'll warn our listeners. I could not nail down a precise this movie or this show or whatever the subject is or the category is, because 2022 for me was just a hodgepodge of weird to me. So for best movie, and I forgot this movie came out in 2022. I thought it was 2021. I have a tie of The Batman and Glass Onion, which just came out at the end of 2022 on Netflix.
I have not seen that yet, but I loved Knives Out.
Knives Out was
me and
such
the
a
wife
good
haven't
movie.
had a chance to watch it.
I need to sit down and rewatch it from the beginning to end because I've seen it in chunks, just based on when I've been able to sit and watch it.
but I really get a kick out of Daniel Craig in those movies because he is so like I'm so used to him being James Bond at this point in his career. He's done that role for so long, and he has that steely-eyed, cold-blooded killer look all the time in those movies. And then you see him as this detective in the Knives Out and the Glass Onion movie and stuff. And it's just so fun to see him putting in these little like character quirks into this. I forget his name off the top of my head, unfortunately, but I just enjoy his character.
Blanc.
Let me look it up real quick. I do have my phone, but I do enjoy him in these movies. And then
I have not seen the Batman yet, so I haven't seen either of yours yet, which is why neither of them even had a chance at making it on the list.
You're right, Benoit Blanc.
That's it, Benoit Blanc.
And the Batman, that was. It's not a perfect. There is never ever a perfect Batman movie, in my opinion. And granted, I don't like Batman enough to need a perfect movie. I've been okay with a majority of what's been out, but that movie in particular was the first time where I'm like, this is serious, and I love it for that reason. It felt so real world compared to even what Nolan did. Because Nolan almost sucked the fun out of some of that stuff for me at points. And this one, it kept in that noir feel. It just kept in this like the darkness, and it had like jump scares in it for the first time. And I actually really enjoyed the Riddler in it. So, ironically, since you and I do a podcast together and I call you the Riddler.
Right.
But yeah, it surprised me that they were taking it that seriously, and it surprised me that they managed to keep that feel through, I'd say, probably 9/10 of the movie, maybe 4/5 of the movie. The ending kind of petered out for me on a little bit of it because it started almost touching into the Nolan idea of he's an aspiring character then. And I still like the idea Batman should just be something that scares the living bejesus out of you in the shadows at night. That's always going to be my Batman. It's like, Kevin Conroy being the gold standard, but my Batman will always be that, like, the force in the darkness, that if you didn't do something wrong, you don't have to worry about it. But, oh, dear God, you just saw Batman. That freaking messed you up for the rest of the month or whatever, So.
No, I'll definitely watch it at some point. I just haven't yet.
That one's like almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
If I remember right. Yeah, buckle up for that one.
Yeah, that'll be... yeah, maybe once the kids go back to school.
There you go.
All right, next category, our best television show. Our favorite television show. Again, see, I put favorite on a lot of these because I'm... Like you, I don't want to say this is like the best or the greatest or whatever, but it's like this is the one that did it for us personally. So, Shawn, you take this one. What is your TV show of 2022?
Well, again, I guess it's because it's 22. I doubled it up. It is what it is. The first.
Our viewers, are you surprised that Shawn could not pick a favorite?
I could not.
No. Well, I've got my 5 favorites here.
And I will discuss them in chronological order. As the director's original intent. At least I got 2, and that's all I'm going to give you. So I think the first one that I remember from 2022 was Peacemaker. I was completely shocked by that show and how much I was enjoying the hell out of it. And the other one for me, and it was flat out like must watch, was Stranger Things season 4, parts 1 and part 2.
Okay.
So no offense to the He-Man. Obviously, we are a He-Man podcast, and it's like we've already covered those. I'm trying to like dig into things that aren't necessarily our normal playground to do the list with this time around.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Peacemaker, that was definitely the show. It took me by surprise. I had to watch it every week. before it came, like that was one I was watching as soon as it came out. I didn't want to get spoiled. I didn't want, it always left me with questions.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that one was
theme
a lot
song,
of fun.
that theme song was just freaking. It's like I would watch it mostly at Jesse's place because we used to get together on Saturday nights, and he's like, "Do you want me to skip it?" I'm like, "Don't you dare!" I'm like, "I gotta hear that song every freaking week when I show up because
I will say, my wife watched the entire show with me. She still says she wasn't sure what she watched, but she watched it. It was intriguing enough for her to keep coming back. But she always would try and get me to skip it. She's like, I've seen it. I'm good. If we could just skip it, I'm like, nope. Got it. It's
no. Do you really? Yeah. Do you really want to taste it? I'm telling you, man. I mean, like, you got, and especially the dance. It's not even just the song, but the freaking choreography of that whole intro was just something special. And I mean,
the characters that ultimately didn't even really make a damn bit of difference too.
No.
Like how was it? The ninja guy.
Oh, like Judo Master.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be prominent because I'm like, he's literally on Peacemaker's shoulders.
Yeah.
In the intro, like this guy's going to be, and then he's got like 2 scenes in the entire show.
But he beats the living hell out of everybody in those scenes. Yeah. It amused me. And anytime that he and Vigilante would team up, that's a good episode because my God, Vigilante is such a stupid. But when he went undercover into the prison to deal with his father and all that stuff, and he's like, I think I just made it worse. Like, yeah, because you do everything that it ends up making it worse. And I honestly, like, with all the big turnover right now that's happening over at Warner Brothers Discovery or whatever it's called, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, James Gunn, but and it's like, the dude managed to make me want to watch a show about a character that I would not have given 2 whatevers about a couple years ago. And he managed to make a better movie out of a movie that was horrible and come up with a sequel that made it actually a good, from beginning to end, story. Not to mention the fact that he does do that stuff where he'll, like you said about Judo Master.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning of the Suicide Squad, all the people that you knew were going to show up end up being gunned down in the first 10 minutes. You're like, Nathan Fillion, you're dead. Captain Boomerang, And from that point on, you still have this crazy ass movie, and it just worked for me. I enjoyed that so much more than I would have expected.
Fair enough. All right. Now we get into a little bit of Masters action. So we got the best Masterverse.
Did you do your TV show?
Yeah, I was Peacemaker as well.
Oh, you were Peacemaker as well. Okay, I was just double checking. I apparently I just completely lost track on that one. All right, sorry.
Shawn was so busy thinking about James Gunn and DC that he's just like, everything else is gone.
Do you really want to taste it?
So my best Masterverse figure of 2022. One of the few I picked. I was also looking back and like, man, I haven't picked up a lot of figures this year, and I don't really know why. There's a lot of great figures out there, but the best for me is my CGI Skeletor. I'm loving the CGI show. I feel this is a great use of the Masterverse system and giving you a hyper-articulated version of this cartoon that is true to the cartoon. He's just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, for Masterverse, I'd say the ones that got me the most excited in 2022 are the CGI He-Man, CGI Skeletor. And I've yet to even see them anywhere locally. So I haven't even been able to pick them up yet. So, and then I was like, well, if I went with one that I've seen
then it would be New Attorney of Beastman hands down, because that thing
he's
is
a fun one.
that is such a great looking figure, and that is so much more like the version of Beastman I always hoped for. So I love that they went there, and yeah, the fact that he's huge and the deluxe figure, sweet.
No, that is a good one. And there's a lot of good Masterverse. It was hard for me, but I'm like, and honestly, the only reason I didn't go He-Man as well is because I haven't been able to find He-Man yet.
Sure.
I've only been able to get the Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
He also fits the Mondo armor very well.
That's hysterical.
Who's laughing now, He-Man?
Now that should have been Skelegod right there.
There's Skelegod. Oh. All right, next up, we've got our best Origins figure of 2022.
It is. And for two guys who aren't in on that line, it's going to be fun. But I'm going to go and pick it. I'm really happy that they put out the 2000X He-Man in that line, because it just showed that is not the... I hate that everybody looks at that as the scapegoat of what made Masters, at least Mattel, what made Masters fail. So them bringing that back almost as like an apology in a certain amount of words to me. And for me being so big on 2000X, it's like, yeah, that meant something to me, that you're not just pushing that under the rug anymore.
Yeah, and we're going to get into how big of a failure 2000X really is in a later episode this year. But, yeah, I agree. And I kind of got the same answer. I cheated a little bit. And I picked the 4-pack anniversary He-Man Origins set. So I could get the 2000X, the New Adventures, and the CGI, along with that kind of Filmation-y inspired one. I do think that's a wonderful set. I still stand by that it's overpriced, but it's definitely one that I would love to pick up for someday. I'm still watching. They've still got them in stock. I was hoping for a Black Friday sale or something, and it never came, but
I didn't realize.
I haven't checked recently, but I know around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I was checking because I'm like, well, if you're gonna clearance them, like, now's the time. But it's a beautiful set, beautiful packaging. Again, a great looking CGI. The 2000X is great to see. New Adventures, I love that that's getting some love, you know. So, yep, still in stock. I can pick up 2 right now, $150. If that would, honestly, just 100. If that dropped to 100, I would pick up the pack. 25 a figure for an exclusive figure, chrome weapons. I'd be all over it. I can't justify 150 for that where I'm at. But it's a beautiful pack, and it's got my vote for best Origins of 2022.
I'll give you that.
Oh, it's a fun one. Favorite pickup of 2020.
This one, I actually didn't think of that one.
I'll go first then.
Yeah, go for it, because I'm going to need a second.
Mine is my Jesse Arnold customs. He made me a custom Fuzzmonk from the Mythic Legions. Beautiful green armor, a wonderful paint job, and then also who has become his steed. I didn't necessarily mean it that way originally, but just because of the color scheme, he repainted a Stridor from the Origins line in more of a realistic steampunk Mythic Legions vibe with the greens, the golds, and the silver. And so, yes, this has become my Fuzzmonk's steed.
I love it.
That is my favorite pick. It just the fact that Jesse did it. He's amazingly talented. It's my one of a kind. Yeah, definitely my Fuzzmonk in his steed. Still got to come up with a name for him. I'm terrible at naming. If people have naming ideas, let me know. Come up with anything? Oh. Did we lose Shawn's audio? Yes, we did. Hang on, folks. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, guys. Sorry about that. I probably should have said it at the top of the episode, but new year, new Legends of Grayskull, and we are using a new program to host our meetings. So we apologize. I know the audio has not been the best today, but yeah, just kind of the growing pains. But we'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get this all fine-tuned and everything. Kind of reminds us of our early days. Some of those early episodes, the viewers don't know, but some of those even shorter episodes took us a long time. I was on my old laptop then, and it would like overheat and drop the connection, and we'd freeze up. And
well,
it's not as bad as that. So
it wasn't this past Christmas. It was Christmas of 2021 was when you got stuff to help with the podcast under the Christmas tree, if I remember right, and I got the iPad finally. So it's like, oh, we have these two ways of doing this, but we're still getting the rest of it. Like I still want to get a good microphone and stuff like that anyway. So, that will be in 2022 or 2023.
We're always trying to improve, so we're always trying new things, and sometimes that results in this. But Shawn, what were you trying to say about my amazing customs that you're so jealous of?
I did not know you were still looking for a name, so that was I'm like, well, if I would have known that, I would have been trying to help you, but I'll have that in the back burner now, thinking, well, what could you name that fuzzmonk?
I'll post pictures too on our social media. You audio listeners out there can take a look at them as well. So now you've had a minute to think.
Yeah, and I still didn't do much, but I'll wing it. So probably my favorite. I'll have to go with Headless Horseman, I guess, from Figura Obscura.
Good choice.
Number one, it was a surprise, so there was a lot of people that were really pissed off because, how could you do this to me and all this kind of stuff. But that figure set is right up my alley. I love Halloween. I love legends like that. So it's gorgeous. I can't think of anything that I would look at in that set and go, well, that doesn't match what I would think of it being. No, like the artwork is on point for the packaging. Nate Barch being Nate Barch, it's always on point. But and then the figure itself and the reuse of parts to make it work as Headless Horseman is just freaking great. And plus, it's really cool they did that where you get a horse with it too. It's not just here's a figure; you get the whole thing right there. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that was a great surprise.
I agree. That's definitely best pickup worthy. All right, we're getting towards the end. I got off of that. Oh, this is a good one. This was actually your contribution. So our favorite moment of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you take it.
We did the episode on it, but my favorite moment still was, I'd say that first intern for the day, even though Legions Con and G-Con and all that in November was really awesome. For me, it was just doing the actual intern for the day the first time and just being there, overwhelmed by it all. Like, second time around, I still was, but there was something about just going in there and having like that Willy Wonka chocolate factory vibe wash over you, seeing all these toys, all of these lines that you might have been collecting one way or the other.
just all the talent on display and stuff. And it's like Legion's kind of got to at least hang out with some of the people that I've been talking with online for years now and stuff. But there was something to just me getting to do that on my own and just, yeah, like that was, I thought that was my one and only. That's the thing. So it made it even special thinking this could be the only time I ever do this in my life. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, definitely a great experience. I'm still jealous of that. One day I'll make it.
I hope you win it next year. Let's put it that way, because you would love it. You would appreciate it like crazy. I know you would.
Oh, yeah. Great time.
You would steal that Cyclone.
Yes, I would.
Cyclone too.
It'd be well worth it. For me, my favorite moment, I know everyone's sick of hearing about it, but I bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my basement, and I'm able to get my stuff set up. And that was just, I mean, we've worked for it for years. Right time, right place, all that. And just all of it coming to fruition, having a place of my own, being able to just be and change and, you know, whatever I want to do to the place. So
it's a big moment.
And yes, I am coming along here. Well, that's my son's Mario Kart track he got for Christmas. But yes, I got the castle, I got Snake Mountain, I got the case filled, I got the bookcase filled. We're moving right along.
Nice.
Eventually, very quickly, everything will be filled up.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you got to give yourself that moment. I mean, geez,
yeah.
When we bought our house at the end of 2015, and that was like at least a year or two worth of, I bought a house, you know, like that just was still mind blowing to me because I'd been renting for 20 some years at that point. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. And like I said, for the collecting, for able to actually be able to, I mean, Skeletor and Hordak were in their boxes, the Mondo ones. I put them, you know, I looked at them when I got them, put them in the boxes, and they sat in a tote. You know, now I got they are up. He-Man's gonna go join them. It's a whole new era of collecting for me. Where it's not just like appreciate it and tuck it away.
Yeah.
I get to actually put it out and have it.
Exactly. I mean, there is no better feeling than that as far as I'm concerned. So,
absolutely. In our last category here, what is our most anticipated release in 2023? What are we looking forward to most?
Am I going first or are you going first?
Go for it.
All right. I mean, since He-Man showed up, I'd say probably Battle-Cat. Mondo Battle-Cat has to be one of my most anticipated ones. I am like, there is a little bit of nervousness with the QC stuff going on, but I think they're going to right the ship on that. I'm not worried about that. So going into Battle-Cat, I'm feeling strong on this one. Like they're going to do something like pretty much Classics was this is the pinnacle of Battle-Cat for me with the way the articulation worked and everything. And it's like, you know, Mondo is going to be the one topping the Horseman for me if this works. So yeah, I'm pumped for that one.
And I knew you were going to say Battle-Cat, and that's why I didn't say Battle-Cat.
Well, what you got?
Well, real quick first, talking about Battle-Cat. Yes, I am really looking forward to Battle-Cat, even though I was not able to pre-order one.
Mm-hmm.
I did see, not dragging anybody through the mud, no judgment, but I did see a guy post that because of the quality control issues on He-Man, he has canceled all his pre-orders for Mondo upcoming, and that included his Mondo Battle-Cat.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody should cancel their pre-order on Battle Cat because if a ton of people do, because they got to be in production already. So hopefully then I can get like a nice in-stock sale of Battle Cat because all these guys canceled theirs and I'll be able to pick one up direct from Mondo. That would be great. So if you guys could all cancel yours, that would be awesome.
I love this thinking that you got here. I love it.
Or I guess if anybody has an extra Battle Cat, brother up. That'll work too. I'll track one down one way or another. But yeah, Battle Cat's definitely a must. I got it. I gotta get Battle Cat. I gotta get She-Ra. I will. But for me, so my most anticipated release, once I took Battle Cat off the table, knowing Shawn as I know him so well, I gotta say the Necronominus wave from Mythic Legions. Specifically that Ghoul Builder, Undead Legion Builder pack.
Yeah.
And the Terpicoli, that crazy bone, four-armed creature. So,
as crazy as it sounds, that one is not on my list of worrying that I have to get that one.
I've got it. Those are the two I have to get from that wave. Cause I've got skeletons.
Yeah.
I'd love more skeletons.
Of course.
Don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't have a Terpicoli. I never could come up with a Terpicoli.
Yeah.
But I have to have one. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a crazy looking monstrosity. Oh, you know, I love my creatures. I love my beasties.
Sure.
Like, I'm gonna pick up that ghoul chick just because she comes with those bone creatures. I'm not even too interested in her. But she comes with that bone chimera and the rattlesnake and
the bird.
A bird.
Yeah.
And so, like, a lot of times it's that kind of stuff for me. It's the stuff I can't get anywhere else. So, yeah, Terpicoli and that Undead Builder are my two tops.
Okay. Yeah, the Undead one I'm pumped over because that one I loved for the fact that if you have other pieces, like I have a couple torsos I'm not doing anything with, or I have a couple of like crotch pieces I'm not doing anything with, so then I can just adapt those into 2 or 3 of those for that's cool. So I love it for that reason. I think I'm supposed to keep going. I do like it. I do like that one. And he's back anyway. I don't have to do this.
It's the beauty of actually having my collection out. I can just go and grab stuff.
That's true.
So yeah, so I picked up this head just randomly from one of the sites, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. But then once they showed that Undead Builder in that translucent with those translucent body parts, I'm like, done.
Yeah.
I just need that body, this head, and it's gonna be amazing. I don't have to do anything.
Yep.
Stick the head on. So I'm probably actually gonna end up getting 2 of those just so I have enough pieces to do what I want.
I've become the kind of person with that line where I fall for the Legion builders more than I fall for the named characters. Like if you look at what's on my shelves, I do have named characters, but a majority of what you'll find is Legion builders on my shelves because I love that those aren't a narrative. Those don't have character bios and stuff. So the fact that if I want this to be something else, I can still play in my own sandbox like that.
Completely. Oh, sorry, guys.
Bless you.
Oh, I just blew everyone's ears out. I couldn't get to the mute button fast enough. No, I completely agree. It's a great line. Lots of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's take a look at some of our viewers' answers.
All right.
Put this in a few different places.
I saw the Instagram post, and then you did it on the Legendati page.
Instagram's always the one I have the hardest time tracking down for some reason. There we go. Nope, not that. I hate Instagram. There it is. Yeah, so we'll start on Instagram. We got one. We had Colin Culp of Toll Culprits fame calling me out on Instagram because I'm a very lazy Instagrammer. I just have everything like port from Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So all the pictures always look weird and cut off, and I'm sure there's something I could do, but I really don't care for Instagram that much. I just know our viewers like it.
Mm-hmm.
So he called me out on that about my image skills. But Photog Damon did actually answer in his movie of the year. Well, first he says he's looking forward to our new episode, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Photog Damon.
Happy New Year.
His movie was a tie with Glass Onion and the Banshees of Inisherin. Haven't heard of it.
I tried watching that the other night. That's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and I loved them in Bruges like years ago, but I couldn't get into that one for the hour of the night that I was trying it, so then I ended up turning it off probably in like 20 minutes into it, unfortunately. But I still like those two, so I might go back and still keep watching it and see what happens, though.
His TV show was The Offer, which I have not heard of.
Neither have I.
Maybe look that up while I keep going here.
Yeah.
There we can at least give a little shout out. Masterverse figure, he went with King Grayskull. Origins, he said Whiplash. Both solid choices for sure. His favorite pickup was a Hellspawn He-Man custom, which I'm sad he didn't send pictures of. Please feel free to drop those and tag us in, Photog. His favorite moment, he said, that's too hard. So he'll just stay Stallone and Tulsa King chewing it up. I did not see that. Did you see Tulsa King?
No, the stuff he's referencing, I think, is Paramount Plus stuff because The Offer is on Paramount Plus. And I don't have that subscription service. But The Offer is actually like a show that goes behind the scenes of how The Godfather was made.
Oh, okay.
And it's Miles Teller, and let's see, Matthew Good is in it too, Juno Temple, and Giovanni Ribisi.
All right.
And Colin Hanks as well.
Good cast.
Yeah.
Check that out. And his most anticipated 2023 release is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I am not going to get my hopes up, but that's just me.
I remember sitting through Crystal Skull in the theater and being so pissed off that I lost that hour and a half or whatever it was of my life because everything that Last Crusade left on such a good note,
exactly,
was being extinguished in that movie through the entire thing. But there was somebody, I don't remember who it was now. There was somebody on Facebook that posted recently and said, I don't see what everybody's problem is about Indiana Jones because how many college professors are in their 80s and they still won't retire and all this stuff, and it's just like every college professor you ever hated, like why wouldn't they keep it going? But I don't think I need. I don't think I've ever needed another Harrison Ford Indiana Jones. And I know that's probably
sacrilegious to say, but like you said, the first three, ending with Last Crusade, I was good.
They ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, like
How much of a better send-off can you give a character who's based on serial movies from the 30s and 40s,
right,
riding off into the sunset with his father and his friends,
right.
knowing that they saved the day at the end and the Nazis didn't win and all that stuff. You know, I mean,
And anything if you want to, because to me, Indiana Jones is so, like you said, it's so period. It is those serials done on a big budget.
mm-hmm.
So to me, you can't take him to the 50s. It doesn't work. It's you don't want that aging professor. You don't want that. You don't want greasers and diners and all that. Like that's not. It's kind of like the Justice Society of America. Like they exist in that time frame,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they work. You take them out, it's just weird.
Well,
So just keep them there. If you're going to do anything, recast and keep it in that era. Make it a period piece and be done with it. I'll see Dial of Destiny, but I'm not sure I need it.
The hardest part for me with that character is it's so much of everything we know about him already. And when you start taking away some of those things and start peeling it away like an onion, I guess, it has that, like, you're seeing things that were quintessential to that character slowly not making sense anymore. So you're seeing, like the girls in his college class were writing "love you" on their eyelids when they blink at him in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then he's becoming the cranky old professor that nobody wants because he's such a hard ass on people. And it's like, it's weird to see the transition. I'm somebody who always says I want to see the story continue, but there is this element of I want to see the story continue in a way where it's valid. And I feel like they've been making him more and more invalid in the last movie, and now this one looks even more like he's going to show up, cause some trouble, and probably need somebody to rescue him to get him out now.
Right.
And that is not my Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is, I'm just making this up as I go along, and then he goes and does something else, or whatever. Exactly. So there is this. I'm very cautiously optimistic. Very cautiously. It looks better than Crystal Skull from the trailer.
I've not watched the trailer. I've not looked at pictures. I'm doing my usual. I'm gonna just put blinders on, and we'll see what happens after the opening credits.
Here's one thing I will say though, because my wife and I both love those movies, and we've tried to get the kids to watch them, and the kids don't want anything to do with it. They get bored or whatever.
Yeah.
And every time there's talk of a new one, that's one of the movie series that we can go, hey, this is coming out. And I showed her the trailer the other day. And come to think of it, that and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 are actually, that I'm looking forward to probably more than Indiana, to be honest. But she was watching the trailer with me, and she just goes, oh my God, he's so old now. And I'm like, that does not help this franchise, and it doesn't help him. And they de-age him even in one scene. It looks like something that was like an outtake from Raiders, but then that's going to make me look at that and go, I miss that. I don't need the old. I want him in his 40s and late 30s, early 40s, punching out Nazis and hearing it sound like a freaking cannon blast when he punches people like the old days. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I agree completely on that one.
All right. Next up, we head into Legends of Grayskull podcast group. David Clark, good friend of the show.
Yeah.
His favorite movie, Top Gun. Still haven't seen that.
Neither have I.
Favorite TV show, Spy X Family.
That I don't know either. Let me look. Is it
yeah, Spy. I don't know if it's Spy Times Family, Spy X Family. His favorite Masterverse figure was Zodak, also his favorite Motu character. His favorite Origins was Buzz Off. Favorite pickup of 2022. This one I'm jealous of. He got that Eternia collection Blu-ray set from Germany. That's that. I got to get that set. That looks beautiful. His favorite moment of 2022 was when Mattel listened to the fans and gave us a made-to-order Grizzlor figure. That was very good on Mattel's part. A good moment. And his most anticipated release, he's curious if they'll give us a proper Snake Mountain or if it will end up as pink as the initial prototype. I think it's going to be that pink. Because I know we said the same thing when Origins Grayskull was revealed, and we're like, is it going to be that green? And it was.
Yeah.
So it still looks like a cool set, but yeah, I'll agree, a little bit pink. Anything on Spy Family? Spy X Family.
It is Spy X Family. It is it's a manga series, and I guess it's an anime. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I've never even heard of it until he brought it up. So there you go.
What genre does it say?
Logline. Story follows a spy who has to build a family to execute a mission, not realizing that the girl he adopts as his daughter is a telepath, and the woman he agrees to be in a marriage with is a skilled assassin.
All right.
That's what the about in Wikipedia at least said about it. So, yeah,
nice.
I don't hardly ever watch anime, so
not too much. No. But if it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
I might check out some of those stuff. Next we got Curtis Ackerman.
Oh my God, Curtis!
He's stooping low with us. I thought Jesse was going to be on the show. He's trying to suck up to him. His favorite movie was The Batman. Favorite TV show, House of the Dragon.
Still haven't watched that one.
I'm sorry, Game of Thrones disappointed me. Too bad. That last season was that. I'm sticking to it. That last season was that bad. I want nothing to do with the franchise. I'm good.
Hearing they know what they did coming out of your mouth. Everything that you're saying from this point on.
It's. I know a lot of people have been able to look past that, but like that was such a letdown ending. I mean, it was bad on all accounts. That whole last season was just bad. So I can't commit to them again. His best Masterverse figure was also the new Eternia Zodak. His Origins figure was Snake Armor He-Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
His favorite pickup was his Ramen Toys Quicksilver. That definitely looks like, if you're a Silverhawks fan, I'd say that Ramen Toys is the way to go. I like what they're putting out better than what Super 7 is going to.
Oh yeah.
His favorite moment was the Wolf King Customs breakout session at Legion's Con. I've heard a lot of good things about that. I couldn't be there. I'll say it before Shawn rubs it in again. And his most anticipated release is also the Mondo Battle Cat. Even though I swear he said he's dropping Mondo. Doesn't he say that like once every other week?
I feel like he's one of those people that is usually saying, if they don't do this right, I'm done with it. Or he's going to devote more Mythic Legion space to it, maybe, is possibly what it is. But, yeah, I mean, he's also somebody who has fighting words that flat out says, Mondo versus Classics, come at me, bro. You know? and for me, I didn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
Not having a single Mondo figure until yesterday.
I can't even put them in the same category. It's hard enough for me to do Origins versus Classics. So
yeah.
All right, we got Jay Gravatt. I probably pronounced your name wrong, Jay, but we love you. Pride of Grayskull on Instagram. No. His favorite movie was also The Batman. I've got to see this movie. His favorite TV show was Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think that's the animated one. I could be wrong. I haven't followed Star Trek.
Yeah, I think that's the animated one because I think the other one is
Picard.
well, there's Picard, and then there's one that has Pike as the main character.
Yeah.
And that's like
Star Trek Origins.
that might be Strange New Worlds, actually.
Classics.
So let me look it up
Classics.
real quick because that's gonna bug me.
I think Strange New Worlds is the animated. Star Trek Discovery is Discovery with Pike.
No,
God, I
Pike
have not
is Strange
followed.
New Worlds. Yeah,
Oh, that is the Pike one.
that is the Pike one. So
What's the animated one?
the animated one I think is Discovery.
I thought or Discovery is the other live action one, the one that came out before Picard.
Oh no, that is the one. Yeah, I don't know. I am not.
Hey, I guess if you're a Star Trek fan right now, it's a good time.
If you're a Star Trek fan, you're yelling at your podcast app going, you guys don't know anything.
And that is why we are not a Star Trek podcast because I got nothing on this one.
This is not Legends of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Next Generation in the movies, and everything else is kind of there. I have been meaning to look at Picard, though, but I have not had a chance to. But his favorite Masterverse figure was the new Eternia Stratos. I haven't even seen him yet, besides Jay's picture, and it looks fabulous. The best Origins figure, he went with Camo Khan. His favorite pickup was Eternia, and he knows he's cheating, but he did pay for it in 2022.
True.
So, favorite moment of 2022, he got to go back to his old job with a raise. Congrats, Jay. I know how scary the job market can be, so I'm glad it all worked out for you.
Yeah.
And his most anticipated release is the Origins Snake Mountain. You're still looking up Star Trek stuff, aren't you?
Well, because I know what one you're talking about, the animated one, and it's not Lower Decks, because that one I know of. It's Star Trek Prodigy.
No, I think Lower Decks is what I was thinking of.
Oh, well, there's another one, Star Trek Prodigy, where it's a CGI. It might be done by the same team that does the He-Man show from the animation style I've seen. It's very similar with that style, so...
I haven't seen that one. The one I've seen is more 2D kind of.
That one's Lower Decks.
Yeah, Lower Decks.
It's almost like they're Family Guy characters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Okay. Next we had Jessica Dooch jumped in. She says that her favorite movie was Sing 2. I don't think that came out in 2022, honey, but. My wife. This is my wife. I wasn't calling Shawn honey, just so everyone knows. Her favorite TV show was Wednesday. Did just get done watching that. That was enjoyable.
Sing 2 was 2021, but I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to split hairs about that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell her that.
You shouldn't. I'm just saying I want it.
Her best best Masterverse figure was Sunman, actually. And she actually asked me why I didn't have him.
Oh.
She liked the way he looked.
That's cool. I mean,
in the Masterverse figure, I will say, if I was going to pick up a Sunman, it'd be the Masterverse, where he's actually got, like, the wings translucent and everything. So, that's the best Sunman out there. Her best Origins figure is Orko. Technically got a re-release this past year. So, good job, honey. Her favorite pickup of 2022 was Felix, who is our black and white cat that we found under a shed out in the country. So, I love it. Her favorite moment was also purchasing our house.
Sure.
And her most anticipated release in 2023 is Ginny in Georgia, which is a really good show, actually. I like it.
I don't know.
Mother-daughter dramedy on Netflix, I want to say. Season 2 is dropping soon. I think it dropped today, actually.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you liked probably like Gilmore Girls, it'd be kind of in that vein.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy Gilmore Girls.
Sam used to be on that show before he went with Dean to go hunt supernatural things. Saving people hunting
And
things.
his name was Dean.
His name was Dean.
Yep.
That's hysterical. It
And
was
we
like
had Milo Ventimiglia.
yeah, from Heroes.
Yep, that's where his career started there.
And This Is Us, I think it is, right? Which I've never seen a single episode of that.
Yeah, he was the dad on This Is Us. That started really strong. All right, and then we got our Legendati group.
Mm-hmm.
So we start off with Jacob Hicks. His favorite movie was The Batman. I've got to watch this thing. Favorite TV show? He said Moon Knight on Disney Plus. I enjoyed it. Best Masterverse figure was the She-Ra. I'm definitely got to pick her up. She was a good Masterverse figure. Best Origins figure was Grizzlor. His favorite pickup is not Masters related, but it's a Marvel Legend of Iron Man snapping his fingers. He did not give us a favorite moment, but his most anticipated release, much to Shawn's chagrin, is the Snake Men.
Yeah, well, what you gonna
2023 is going to be the year of the snakes.
They can have it. I got other stuff going on. I got Mondo Battle Cat and a Deluxe Skeletor showing up, and I'm even. I told you earlier today and Jesse, but I'm eyeing up that Mezco 1/12, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that they just showed for pre-order. It's like I got stuff. I'm not worried about Snake Man right now, and all my stuff is like, freaking mortgage worthy, which sucks. So yeah.
Next up, we got J Mac, longtime friend of the show. His favorite movie was the Del Toro Pinocchio. I have not seen that. I actually forgot about that till he mentioned it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, likewise. I will give a shout out though for TV show. Del Toro put out a show called Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix last year.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife started watching it, and she's like, "Oh, do you want to check it out?" And we watched like a few episodes so far. That is freaking great. It's an anthology show, so every episode is something different at least. So if you liked one, you might not get the next one being as good as the other or whatever. But he brings in all of these talents that he appreciates.
Right.
It's like it's almost like Twilight Zone, but he's at the wheel. So it's a little more disturbing and a little more creepy than Twilight Zone might have gotten.
That's interesting.
Netflix. Check it out if you get a chance.
For sure. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. TV show, The Orville. He says, I know it didn't release this year, but I enjoyed it like no worries here. Masterverse figure was the new Eternia Skeletor. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
His Origins pick was Webstore. His pickup, and this one threw me, I actually had to ask him what it is, was the Noble Barch.
Oh,
Shawn, do you know what a Noble Barch is?
It's this guy right here. The Noble Barch.
Okay, so it's just me.
Mythic Legions.
Yes, I asked him, what's a Noble Barch? And he says the Mythic Legions Ogre Scale Accessory Pack, and it gained that nickname for its designer, Nate Barch.
Yep, Nate.
So,
and I don't have it completely accessorized, but Nate created the alternate head, which is on here, pauldrons, and then he comes with this huge, actually, I do have the head of it here. This is his hammer the head of the hammer with the wildebeest heads on either side. So yeah, it's another one of those, like, this is definitely one of my, if I had to do a top 10 list, this would be one of my top 10s for 2022, because I just think this is great. So
no, it's
they
a
need to
beautiful
let
figure.
Nate
I just
do
didn't
more.
know the cool kids lingo like everyone else did. I missed that meeting. And then he said his favorite moment was PowerCon, and his most anticipated is the House of the Noble Bear wave.
Me too. That'll hopefully in November. For me personally, that's just my happy spot. That's my favorite faction in Mythic Legions, right next to Sons of the Red Star, which
Right.
it's always they'll probably go hand in hand because they're splinter factions, maybe. So I would love to see what they do with that 2.0 Scapular, 2.0 Atlas, maybe. Who knows? And then more barbarians, more bounty hunters, and scum and villainy. Bring it. I'm all about it.
Nope, completely agree. Gonna be a fun. Next up, we got Skelly Vader. And he says that his favorite movie was Nope.
Haven't seen
And I'm
it.
assuming that's actually a movie and him not saying he's not going to pick one.
No, that was the latest, what's his name, Jordan Peele movie.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to think. I know Michael Wincott was in it from The Crow and from Three Musketeers, the Disney one, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in Prince of Thieves. He was Guy Gisborne in that one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that one. It's legit.
Okay. His favorite TV show was Seinfeld. He says, seriously, the family and I started watching it again. It's great. His best Masterverse figure was the 87 movie Skeletor. You know, he technically hasn't gotten him in the mail yet. He's in his big bad toy store pile of loot. His best Origins figure was Mantenna, which I can completely agree with. He is a solid figure.
Mm-hmm.
His favorite pickup was his vintage Snake Mountain. His favorite moment was winning 2 amazing prizes from Legends of Grayskull podcast. You guys can too. Just pay attention, subscribe, click all those buttons, join us on our lives. We give lots of stuff away.
Yeah.
And his most anticipated release is the Masterverse 2-Bad and the Origin Snake Mountain. And last up we got Jason Torrance, another longtime fan of the show.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi guys, Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a safe and happy New Year." We did. I did. I hope you did too, Jason.
Happy New Year, Jason. We appreciate you because, man, he answers almost everything.
He does.
It's always...
Well, a lot of these guys that we can always count on.
Absolutely.
He says his favorite movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And he does qualify. To be fair, he watched very few this year. Don't apologize. That was a really good movie. I don't care what Jesse says. His favorite TV show was The Terminal List, another one I've never heard of. He also has honorable mentions to Pennyworth and the Revelation Part 2. Pennyworth, is that following Batman's butler?
Yeah. And they actually... Well, when I want to say it was when Discovery, when they did the Warner Brothers Discovery thing, they actually went back and changed the name of that show because it was called Pennyworth for like at least the first couple seasons. Or I don't know how many seasons it is, but when it started out, it was just Pennyworth. Then they changed it to Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler.
Because reasons. I don't know. All I knew was when I heard that, I was like, well, that's a fun way of making you feel kind of like you're stupid trying to watch something if you already knew what the show was, but now they have to hand feed it to you, spoon feed it.
Right.
So,
Like, not enough people are watching. Stick Batman on it.
yeah, basically. If it says Batman, it'll sell.
And it will. Where were we? Best Masterverse figure was the Beastman. I'm assuming he means the new Eternia.
Yeah.
His favorite Origins figure was Buzz-Off. His favorite pickup was the San Diego Comic-Con Masterverse He-Man and Skeletor 40th anniversary set.
Mm-hmm.
His favorite moment was the Phillies playoff run. And his most anticipated release is Masters of the Universe Revolution. And, of course, his Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl championship t-shirt that he's buying custom made because they are going to lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, here we go.
You guys struggled against the Bears. And I'm a Bears fan. You should have beat us single-handedly if you guys were as great as you're supposed to be.
Sports ball.
Sports ball. He also had a question. I was wondering what your thoughts are on the Masterverse comics coming out in February. I found the prequel comics very hit or miss, so I'm hoping these will be better. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it, and thank you for taking the time to make the podcast. Whether working or walking my dog, it is always a fun listen. I look forward to another great year of shows.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we look forward to a year. It's going to be a solid year. Don't worry, we got you guys this year. I think we talked a little bit about this, and I think it's going to come down to the execution. I think it's basically what we decided. Looks anthology. Looks like they're going to be jumping around. If they can just do fun stories and no big things, I'm going to be good with it. If they try to do another end of everything, death of this, destruction of that, Let's just let He-Man and Skeletor in various incarnations duke it out for a few issues.
Yeah. I gotta say I'm slightly worried because Tim Seeley is writing that one, and I know Tim Seeley already has, he's got his history with the fandom on the org, as well as he worked on the Injustice Masters of the Universe, and he also did the Masters of the Multiverse book that we both were just like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
And when I think of that one, that makes me the most like, okay, because basically it sounds like, let's do a similar idea, but instead of it being a race against time against this evil He-Man killing other He-Men off, it's now, here's Sorceress and Zodak going around and multiverse jumping and seeing what is another multiverse He-Man.
Right.
And that for me is a little like, I'm already like, why do we need to do that kind of a story when they just did that story previously? That was the last comic series that we've gotten. And now over at Dark Horse, they're supposed to start again fresh. They did do the prequels for Revelation was the last one we got, so I'm sorry about that. But that wasn't all that amazing. And then we have this one, and I'm just like, this
like
one
I
at
said,
least the art is something that I'm like, ooh, I want to check it out because the artwork at least is going to be interesting. But Tim Seeley working on this makes me nervous only because I know how he writes when I got to talk to him the one time.
Yeah.
And that just makes me go like, if you're going to do this again, where it's going to be like, you did not build up an ending properly and then the ending just happens and it's a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing, I'm going to be like, if you're attached to it, I don't need to read it from that point on.
See, I think that's what I'm saying. Because if they are just these self-contained, like, this issue is New Eternia He-Man Skeletor. This issue is, the Battle Armor He-Man and Jitsu. Where it's like, because we know Tim just starts writing and things start publishing.
Yeah.
And then he kind of decides before the final issue is printed, maybe he figures out how things end.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a single issue, single story, that won't matter.
Here's the thing, though. The preview pages that we've seen were all the preview pages, and maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm completely fine with that. I thought the preview pages that we saw, which had the Battle Armor He-Man, but then they had the Zodak pages and all that stuff, and then there was something else. Like, I feel like there was some other things, and I thought that was all the first issue. Because they only just a little while ago started showing off the covers to issue 2. Because that has a Battle Armor He-Man on the cover. And I forget what the alternate cover to that one is. But there is a part of me that's like, I feel like it's going to be more jumping around just based on the preview pages that we've seen. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know what they said specifically. Well, I think the Zodak Sorceress, I think that's going to be like
that's the through line.
The wraparound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll probably be like, the beginning and the end of each issue.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. And I actually like that there's obviously 3 different stories there. There's the Zodak Sorceress, there's the New Eternia thing, and then the Battle Armor He-Man thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that from the different things. I took it as they're going to be separate issues. Because that's how I would do it. I'd do this, and then I'd do this. And then have the Zodak Sorceress be the bridge between those.
Well,
but I don't know if it specifically said.
I agree with that, but I've also heard they're going to have Sergio, I think it's Aragones, that created Gru the Barbarian back in like the 80s. He's going to be doing a version of He-Man where it's a more comedic, like a Gru the Barbarian version of He-Man. And there's some other stuff. So it's like, okay, in one issue, are we getting all these different versions? And it's almost like they're just peeking into these windows and getting at like 4 pages of this is what this He-Man does. Because the whole concept, if I remember right, is Zodak is questioning whether Adam deserves to wield the power. And the sorceress is kind of taking him with her. Or he's going through the multiverse, and she's there along for the ride and explaining why that's why he should be the one with the power.
Right.
But I feel like that concept then could bleed all over the place into things that maybe it won't have a focused story the way that we would like it to be, and it's almost going to be vignettes with here's this version of He-Man, and then Zodak's going to look at her and checklist. Okay. Yeah, scratch this one off the list. You are wrong, sorceress. And then the next one, you might have something there. And then the next one, it just feels like that's kind of why this premise, until I get to read a first issue, I'm not as excited for it as I wish I could be, because I would just like to see like a New Eternia comic, because there are different things in that mythology that we aren't used to. Like, I mean, heck, we found out Jitsu is a good guy in that version. Well, that's different. Why? How did that work? I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying, if you're going to start switching, from good to bad and bad to good, that's interesting. So let's get into what that's about. And I feel like this is just going to be more of the multiverse kind of vibe, which I was okay with it the first issue, and I liked the 2000X issue, but I just was not as excited for that book the way that I was crossing my fingers I was.
I completely agree too. And it's all going to come down to execution. I think this one's got the better chance, but we'll see what happens. And I mean, it could even be them digging into, you say, Zodak's gonna be like, oh no, look, this one messed up, so Adam shouldn't have the power. Maybe they're not even going into like that. Maybe they're going like the power level disparity. Where like now we have New Eternia He-Man, and say he's not Adam. He's just a barbarian from the jungle. And maybe it's more of that. Like, why is this version of He-Man like the strongest, or what should he have the most power?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of getting into that we've talked about before. About, you go from this, to Filmation, where he's just a super powerhouse, to, all that. So, I mean, it's interesting stuff. There's lots of ways they could take it, but it's all going to come down to execution for me, especially, like Shawn said, with Tim Seeley's track record.
I'm trying to find more info on it, and unfortunately, I'm not finding it fast enough. But yeah,
I don't know if there. Like I said, I don't know if anything specifically said. Is this one issue? Is this two? Are these preview pages?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have those answers.
I don't know. I just it's the weirdest thing about it, and I've said it how many times, but it still rings true even in 2023 for me right now. It's like the stuff that gets me excited about the brand might not necessarily be the stuff that's out there entertaining people that aren't into the brand, and just getting that glimpse of it through media the way that non-fans are getting into it.
Right.
And it's not a snobbery thing or whatever. It's just, in certain cases, I would just like to. That's why I like the CGI. I like it that I don't know all the answers. It makes me show up knowing I don't know all the answers. I want to see this story continue. But when it comes to some of the other stuff, it's like, this feels like it's a one and done kind of a situation, and I don't really need that. I'd like something that continues, and I'd like it to be a solid story that's being told that makes me invested. And it's like if it's a stunt comic, if it's a stunt story like that, that's going to make me just go like, okay, so now we have another mini series. Well, now then what? And then you got to wait for the next mini series. It's like, Masters is better than mini series. They were called mini comics, but we don't need mini series all the time. We could do like do a 12-issue story arc and go crazy, I mean, that's just me, but
I will say, real quick, I do have some more info, but just real quick here, the thing with me is, going back to it, is one of my favorite episodes, I think it was actually the new Batman Adventures, the second animated series, and they had an episode where the kids were telling the different stories of Batman. You remember the episode? Everyone remembers. It was a great episode, right?
Yeah.
They do a little story where it's like set in like that 60s campy Joker giant pianos and all this, and then they do a little bit of the Dark Knight Returns, and I think there was a third story in there. Maybe it was just the two. But like, that's what I'm envisioning for this, of what it could possibly be. It's like, okay, this could be our chance to just like a peek at this, a peek at that. If it's well done, it could be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is, again, I think it stands where it could fall if they try to tie it into something bigger. Like, just leave it at that. And real quick here, from Dark Horse's own page, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse #1. In the depths of Grayskull, the Sorceress and Zodak debate the value of He-Man. The Sorceress must take this cosmic enforcer on a tour of the multiverse. First, a tour across the world where a dim barbaric He-Man bumbles through a world of annoying warrior goddesses and bored demons as he's pursued by a Hunger Green tiger and a tail drawn by the legendary Sergio Aronis. Then I stop in Eternia, where the power of Grayskull summons an entirely different warrior where in a horrific ghost story is illustrated by Kelly Jones. So yes, there will be 2 stories.
And both of those are not even what they showed in the preview page. Kelly Jones has a very distinctive style, and none of that stuff was.
Oh, that was not so that Battle Armor He-Man and Jitsu is another.
It's probably I think the second issue was the one that was just they showed the cover. It's got Battle Armor He-Man on the cover, the new Eternia version. So maybe that's that issue. But again, that's also like, okay, if you're bracing for that one and the first issue isn't even, you don't even have the pages to show, that's not helping either.
Well, I think they do. I think the
Zodiac.
I'm betting that
parts,
Dim Barbaric He-Man, I think that's going to be the new Eternia pages that we've seen.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was the guy that did Gru. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have the person that's working on that one confused with him. But when they said the legendary, and I thought they even mentioned it was Gru the Barbarian, I was like, well, now they're going to that, which that's like a whole different feeling than what I want to have out of Masters. And then the dark stuff that Kelly Jones is doing, that's nothing I've seen on anything so far for previews.
Right.
So,
but I will say, it does say that it is 32 pages. That's big for a comic. Usually like about 22, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So, okay, they're packing 2 stories in, but it sounds like they're giving some additional pages.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it won't be as truncated like you're worried about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's still, I can't get around the fact that it still feels like a stunt though. And that's part of why I don't think I'm embracing it the way that others might, because I'm okay with like in an anniversary issue. Like I growing up, I had anniversary issues for like Detective Comics, for Action Comics and stuff, and they had all these different talents like Frank Miller, Michael Golden, and Arthur Adams, and all these people just contribute one way or the other to either the story or pinup work in the issue, and it's all it's Superman's 40th birthday, because at that point he was 40 in the 80s and all that. And when I look at this, it's like it feels like that vibe, and those are nice for those characters that they're since 1938 and all that stuff. That's, you've got plenty of stories you've told since then. But in the case of this, I'm still like, we're still on the comeback trail of trying to get a comic going with these, with Masters again. And every time I feel like it's not holding up to the extent that I would love a comic series to hold its own on the shelves right now. And it's a stunt because you're bringing in these artists, some of which you haven't seen them do commercial art since the 90s. Like Kelly Jones, I haven't seen his name attached to much since probably like Batman, when they did Red Rain, and Batman was a legit vampire, Elseworlds title and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I don't really need to see what Kelly Jones would do with Masters of the Universe. I'd rather have just a story that starts from the beginning and goes through it, and have an artist dedicated to that book, and like Axel or whoever, because he's done comic book artwork. I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out on that. I'd rather just see something where it's like, this is a legit Masters comic. Enjoy. We're not going to pull it off the shelves in 12 issues. We're trying to do 2 to 3 years worth of stories using this book. That's just me.
Like Kelly Jones still working lots in around 2008 to 2014 for DC. Most recent Batman Black and White in 2021.
Okay.
So, yeah, lots of stuff. He's still around though.
No, and I figured he's still around. I haven't kept. He hasn't been a name that's popped out to me doing much since the 90s, because that was like really big time for him. He was doing a lot of different Like he was into the dark and gothic kind of comics back in the 90s. And he's been probably more low key nowadays with his career compared to what it was back then, I guess. But
Man.
And it's great. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the work or anything. It's just, I don't know. I just don't want to see a patchwork of a story. I kind of just want to see, let's just do a story. Let's just have from beginning to end, tell a story in New Eternia or whatever. But
yeah, let's see. Issue number 2, we've got the 2 stories in this one. First one is, in a world where champions have fallen, a hard-bitten Duncan and his partner Evelyn take on a strange kidnapping case in Man-at-Arms for Hire. So I haven't seen anything about that, but that sounds like it could be fun to me. And then the second story in that one is on the Harmony Sea, Adam, commander of the King's army, and the captured thief Jitsu search for the power to conquer Eternia.
So there's
those other
pages that we've already seen. So I guess, yeah, maybe the Viking one that we have seen is from that first issue, like you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's that's the dim-witted barbarian.
Probably, because he does have that like Cartoon Network kind of vibe, like a Teen Titans Go kind of vibe to that version of He-Man compared to other ones.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. When's the release dates on the first issue?
February 15th.
Oh,
is
so
the first one. So
happy
just about a month out.
Day.
Day after Valentine's Day. So.
I'll still look at it. It's not like I'm not going to read it or whatever. I am genuinely curious at what this is going to be. But I am so like, if this is going to turn into multiverse where at the end it just turns into a cluster, I'm like, oh God, you're killing me twice then.
So I'm saying, if Tim Seeley, when you listen to this episode, I know you listen to all our episodes.
Yeah.
Just don't try to bring them together. Let them be the one and done. Move on. That's where it's going to... Marvel's What If.
Yeah.
I don't know if we really talked about it, but like that's where it fell apart for me. Was I kept getting this feeling like they're going to try and bring all these together.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that final episode,
I
got to assemble. And I'm like, no, that's not what If is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just supposed to, same thing. It's, what if there were zombies? What if, Captain America was Peggy Carter?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's it. It's just one window. It's not a continued thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying I can get behind, what if everyone died and Man-at-Arms and Evil Lynn are left in a post-apocalyptic eternity?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see it. Take a look at it. And then move on. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, again, even like, I don't know. It's not getting me on that level, and I don't know why. I must just be. I shouldn't have shaved my beard tonight. I'm the old man here. I'm just like, get off my lawn, give me my master. And I'm not trying to say there is a version of it that is like, this is the version that I have to have, or else it's no good. Because I've found good things with Revelation. I found bad things with Revelation. CGI, 2000 explanation, whatever. I usually find something in there. So it's not like I'm a hater on everything, but I'm just, everything I hear about this, it's like, I don't know. Because the other problem too is these little stories have this feeling of, okay, so we're going to get introduced to this version of Adam or this version of He-Man.
Yep.
We don't know much about this version of him. We're going to have to figure that out quickly within the however X amount of pages. And then they're going to judge him based on X amount of pages. And then that might lead me to go like, well, crap, I kind of want to see what more would happen with this one. And we're not going back there then. Or if they do like you're talking about, then I'm just going to be like, I can't do this. Like I'll be throwing things against the wall because it's
there is a cool thing about, okay, we have the power. I know some people hate that. I don't mind that because of the idea of the playability. But the problem that I'm having is, don't all of a sudden start doing Marvel crossover work with Masters when it's not even earned yet. You know, it's like that works within that universe because they built it since 2008, creating what we've got to this point. One comic book does not make a universe. You know, that's the other. It's like, that's why I'm so nervous about it. There's too many question marks, and all the things that I'm asking questions about are making me go, ugh.
So to answer your question, we'll see when we get it. Shawn's definitely just got to read it before he's going to be able to judge it.
And I'll tell you what, Jason, if I'm wrong, if I read the first issue and it actually works out that I enjoy it more, I'm happy to say that I was wrong. I'm not going to sit here and dig in on this if I know I enjoyed it.
There you go.
To be continued.
Yeah. I think that's about it for this one.
Yep.
We do want to thank you all for joining along with us. Everybody who sent in your best of and everything. And yeah, looking forward to a strong 2023. Shawn, you got anything?
Happy New Year, folks. And thanks for wishing us Happy New Year when you reached out and answered our questions this time around. And thanks for sharing your answers, because that actually made us have to Google some stuff we've never even heard of before. So it's kind of fun to go, hey, this is out there and that's out there or whatever. So thank you for that.
Throw some recommendations out there.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, do me a favor. Click all down below there. Do all that stuff. Do your thing. We love you all. And until next time, I have the power now.
I have the power.
Happy New Year, guys.
Oh, come on. Oh, bear. Oh.